Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Neville and welcome to Selective Imagery. Welcome to Thanks for the Memories, Part 16. Well, here we are again for another Thanks for the Memories episode. And we'll have to see, this is the second time I'm trying to do this recording. The first time it didn't take. But we're going to talk about a camera that really isn't worth anything in terms of an investment value, but it intrigues you because just when you thought you knew everything about the cameras that were around when you were young, you find out that's not true, which is typical of a lot of things in life. You're not as smart as you think you are. So I stumbled across a Kodak Instamatic Reflex Camera that came out in 1968, made in Germany for Kodak. So this is what it looks like. Kind of interesting, huh? This was available for purchase from 1968 to 1974. I think they actually stopped making them before 1974, but they still had some on the shelf, so they were still selling it up till 1974. It's actually, this is an interchangeable lens camera, believe it or not. You can pop this lens off and change it, and it used Kodak 126 film cartridges. This is an old, unused, out-of-date box of Kodachrome 64 with the drop-in film cartridge. It has you could get it with a 50 millimeter 1.9 f1.9 lens, but the lens on this camera is actually, it's labeled a Schneider Kreuznach Xenar lens, f2.8, 45 millimeter f2.8 lens, obviously made in Germany, so you know it was made in Germany when you see a lens with a name like that. And it's an aperture priority camera via the CDS cell here on the front. And when you put the cartridge in, the camera would automatically sense what the ASA/ISO was for that film cartridge, because you had your choices of 64, 80, 125, or 160 ASA/ISO. And the viewfinder, when you look through it, would display on the right hand side a metering needle, and it would just tell you what the shutter speed was that was being selected by the camera based on what your f-stop was. Okay, so you have an f-stop adjustment and your focusing adjustment on this lens. You had a split image rangefinder screen for focusing. And so let's just look at what is on this camera. You could get it in a black body or silver body like you have here, chrome. And depending on the year of manufacturer, some would have a cold shoe on it and some would not. This is an earlier model, so it does not have that feature. So when you look at the front, you have your shutter release, you have your CDS cell, and we will show you here, you have this slider, which is for you can see the indicator line here above my finger, and you can see the row of f-stops. So you're sliding that to adjust your f-stops. You also have a focusing ring. Bring that close. Okay. And see on this other indicator line, if you're shooting daytime photos, you can adjust your f-stop and line it up with the cloud. Line up this cloud with that indicator line or the sun with that indicator line, and then you're going to have a recommended, you'll end up with a specific f-stop depending on whether you're set on the clouds or set on the sun. Okay, so we're at F11, and that is when I'm in sunny mode. And right now, the focusing ring and the aperture are linked together via this little slider. Okay, they're tied together. And you do that if you're doing flash photography. Okay, you interlock these two together, and when you're looking at your focusing ring, you see that blue line. That blue line represents 5 feet to 23 feet. So as you're turning that to focus on your subject, when you have them locked together, it will adjust your f-stop automatically so that your exposure is going to be correct when you're using flash photography with the flash cube. If you're not using the flash cube, or you're doing daytime photography, then what you're going to do is you're going to flip up this piece of plastic here. Okay, you're going to lift it up, and that'll free the focusing ring from your aperture, and now they work independently of each other. On the bottom of the camera, you have a film back release. Push that button in and show you the back of the camera. Okay, for dropping in the cartridge, and you just drop it in, shut the back. You can see, what kind of film you have in it through the little window. You got your viewfinder, you got your film advance lever. Now you have your tripod socket, and you also have this gaping hole, what you see as a gaping hole right now. And on this little plastic piece on the edge, on a lot of these cameras, is broken off. It's very easy to break off. Mine did, trying to wrestle out the battery tray, because the battery tray had batteries in it that were swollen and corroded. And you're supposed to be able to, I'll slide this in, but not all the way. This battery tray drops in. Okay. It drops into that hole. And you're supposed to be able to just push on this metal tang, and it pops the sliding tray out so that you can change your batteries. I'm leaving it out for now. I did repair that piece. I don't think it's going to move or anything, but I'm leaving it out for now. But it used to use what they called they're very old PX 825 batteries that look like this. And as you can see, they're very, very, very thick. I think I saw on the internet that somebody in Europe might be making equivalents that are this size, this thickness. I got to look into that a little bit more. I don't know if it's true or false. But in the U.S., the people were talking about, well, how can I use this camera if you can't get batteries for it? So some of them call out a different part number battery that's readily available, and then they say, lay the batteries in the proper orientation and slide nickels in on top of them, up to 3. You may need up to 3, and that'll make it so you have an electrical contact when you go to slide this thing back into the camera body again. I haven't decided if I want to actually do that or not. So for now, I'm just leaving this out and contemplating whether I want to buy those batteries and actually try doing that or not. The shutter speeds that you have that you can use are 20 seconds to 1/500th of a second. And if you put in a flash cube, it automatically syncs to 1/30th of a second automatically. If you hook up you have a PC cord connection here, you hook up a flash, and let's say you mount a flash bracket onto your tripod socket, and you got your flash over here. That'll work for you. It'll set the shutter speed to 1/300th of a second. The lenses use what they call a retina reflex type DKL mount, that you could get lenses that were anywhere from 28 millimeters up to 200 millimeters in focal length. Imagine that on something that, you know, in your mind, Instamatic camera, cheap plastic thing. This is pretty solid. A pretty neat idea. I'm surprised that anybody did it. You know, to pop the lens off, you got a little release. Let me get it in the image here. You got this little release button here. I'll push on that. I'll twist the lens. Come right off. You got a red dot on the camera for alignment. You got a matching red dot. It'd be kind of hard to show you and do all this. There you go. You got the matching red dot on the lens. So you just line up the dots. It's funny to try to do this when you're not. Line up the dots and twist it and lock it in place. And that's kind of neat. It's kind of neat that you have that. Your flash range is between 5 and 23 feet. Like I said, you got that blue line on the focusing wheel, and then you sync the focusing and the aperture ring together with that slider. So it's an interesting camera, which I didn't remember seeing any of these when I was young. You know, an upscale SLR Instamatic camera. And there were actually 4 other companies that made these, believe it or not. Rolleiflex, Keystone, Ryko, Contaflex. So kind of a worthy addition to a camera collection that you kind of put under the category of oddities. And we'll see if I want to experiment with the battery or research further to see if in Europe they sell basically a remake of these old batteries, and then I can see if the metering system works. That would be kind of interesting. I think there might actually be somebody out there now, I wouldn't want to know how much it is, that might make the 126 cartridge film again, but another thing I'll have to look into further. So as I say, enjoy life, capture some of it. You never know what you're going to find, and something like this doesn't cost a lot of money to find one, but you're probably going to have the same problem if it still has batteries in it, so you want to ask that question, if it has batteries in it or not, to make sure, and then look to see if that corner piece is missing. If it's missing, don't even buy the camera. So take care. Until next time. Just going to slip this in. Don't forget your flash cubes if you're going to use that camera for real and try flash photography. Obviously, you have to find these on eBay or at a pawn shop, or, you know, a consignment shop or someplace like that, and you're going to pay through the nose for them. And I just bought a small package of them just to have, the kind of as a display item to go along with the camera. That's about it. So just thought I'd show you that. Okay, here's the best I could do to find out information about 126 film cartridge options and batteries. Well, no one sells the 126 film installed in cartridges anymore, but not all is lost. You can see what I have on the screen here. You could get 126 film, what they call a Falcmatic 126 adapter for $29.99 from Film Photography Project, and then you can purchase and load your own 126 bulk film into this device. The film is $12.99 a roll for color and $11.99 for black and white. So just go on the internet, go to Film Photography Project, type in 126 film, and you'll see both these items show up. Regarding batteries, the original EPX 825 batteries are no longer made. That's the same as a PX825 as well. I found one vendor out there that supposedly is selling a PX825 alkaline battery, but you have to get a price quote. Another option is you buy an EPX825 or PX825 battery adapter made overseas. The adapter is shipped to the USA, costs $39, and you can see that below as well to get the name of the place and order it for yourself if you want to. And it'll allow you to put in an LR44 battery and drop it into a holder which is conductive and specifically states that it'll work with Kodak Instamatic Reflex cameras. So that's the best I could do, guys. So hopefully someone out there will try it out. Hey gang, if you like this video, do me a favor, give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and feel free to leave a comment. I always like to talk to people who've watched my videos. So take care, and we'll see you next time.